You better get these cards. Good morning, tamers, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Grab These Cards Before They Become Part of the Meta. And I say this with as much love as possible, that some of these cards will see some definite fringe play, and then some of these cards are definitely going to be mainstays, for at least in the upcoming sets. So, let's kick this off with the upcoming Flamemon. So for those who are not aware currently, BT7 is essentially the hybrid box. And with that being said, Flamemon here on Inherited is while your Digimon has hybrid of 10 warriors in its forms or type, it gains piercing. Your counterparts do a lot with this piercing effect. But let's go through the BT7 stuff and see why this is important for us to get. So, for the lovely red stuff, we have a Flamemon from BT7, which is reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card amongst them with hybrid in its traits, Susanimon or Takuya Kanbara, and then place them in your hand. Place remaining at the bottom of your deck in any order. So for this, you get to have 1 card. I know the first one was a little bit better where you could search out hybrids and a tamer, but this is specifically naming things. Didn't want to give you too much leeway there with having a whole handful of stuff, I suppose. Inherited effect is on deletion. You may play one of the tamers from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's a pretty good card, but also if you are struggling and you do need to do something, you can always get out one of the other rookies with this card as well. Burning Greymon, not a Greymon. You may digivolve this card from your hand onto one of your red tamers, as if the tamer was a level 3 Digimon, for the cost of 2. When digivolving, if this card with hybrid is in its traits, or Takuya is in its Digimon's Digivolution sources, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. The new Albormon, when one of your Digimon with tamer in its Digivolution cards digivolves into this card in your hand, reduce the memory cost of this Digimon by 2, which then takes it down to a 1 cost Digivolution at ultimate level. When digivolving, if a card with hybrid is in this traits, is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets 4000 DP for the turn. So this is the other thing that Alphamon always likes to do, which is if you have a hybrid in its backup, you'll gain DP, and this one is now a 12k beat stick of doom. But the inherited is, while this Digimon has hybrid or 10 warriors in its traits, it doesn't activate security effects on option cards. Now, we already know how amazing that delegate plan can be for that 1 cost. Well, this is a built-in delegate plan on your hybrids. And then your big boss monster for the deck, this is your standard red boss monster, is Emperor Greymon. For us, I believe it will be Kaiser Greymon. That is, when digivolving, you get Blitz. Wonderful. Your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon is blocked, unsuspend it, and gain 1 memory for each Digivolution card this Digimon has with hybrid in its traits. Yeah, so with the piercing effect here from the original Flamemon, I do think that this is going to be a very wonderful, if not scary and terrifying deck. And then for the Beast of Resistance, Takuya Kanbara, and that is security. Play this card without paying its memory cost. Main, once per turn, you may place 5 cards with hybrid in their traits from your trash under this tamer in any order to digivolve this card into a Emperor Greymon in your hand for the dilution cost, as if this card was a level 5 Digimon. Your turn. This Digimon gets 2000 DP, or this Digimon has 10,000 DP or more. This Digimon gains a security attack plus 1. So not only are you possibly get board wiped or whatever, yellow, you then get to recur all your stuff, throw it onto a tamer, throw that tamer then into your now blitzing Emperor Greymon. You have piercing, you have damage increase, you have security, you have delegate plan active. This card and this deck itself will be fantastic, and that piercing is just the extra cherry on top. Moving over to yellow, we have the wonderful new Pulsemon, which will be coming in BT6, as well as Bulkmon. Now you're probably thinking, why would you want this? And this is more of an archetypal thing when it comes to Bulkmon, but for Pulsemon, it's on play. You may trash cards from the top of your security stack until you have 3 left. Gain 1 memory for each of these you do. So this is something kind of like the other Pulsemon we have, which is if you're at 3 memory, you get to draw and you get to gain a memory. Whereas this one is essentially saying, hey, if you want to get yourself down to that 3 security early as you can, sure, play this, you'll mill 2, and then you will gain 2 memory back. This is very good, possibly for a turn 1 play, especially if you're going first, as your opponent will be able to counter and take you out at all. But the inherited effect will be, or you have 3 security cards, this Digimon gains jamming. This is where Bulkmon comes in. So your turn, or you have 3 or more security cards, this Digimon gains plus 1 security. Now, Bulkmon isn't the chunkiest of boys, but if your opponent does not have a blocker on the field, and they can't stop you from attacking, well, your turn 2 will be taking out 2 security. Now these guys get a nice little upgrade in BT7 as we get the rest of their kin. So, the inherited effect of the other Pulsemon will be if you have 3 security cards, gain 2 memory when attacking. Again, you've already put yourself in this position. If you put this Pulsemon as your original baby rookie, and then on the next turn maybe you can evolve into, say, that Bulkmon, it's pretty good. The new Bulkmon is, or you have 3 or more security cards. As an inherited effect, you'll gain blocker, which is very good when you look at the next set of cards. So we come to Bulkmon, which is the ultimate form of Pulsemon. Opponent's turn. When an opponent's Digimon attacks a player, if you have 3 or more security, you can unsuspend this card. Even better. So, and this isn't once per turn either. This is a continuous effect. So if you're in your Mega stage, which is a 12k monstrosity, every time someone blocks you, if you're at 3 security, you are literally just going, no you can't, no you can't, no you can't, no you can't. And then when we get to, I'll butcher this, Kazuchimon, when Digivolving, if you have 3 more security cards, gain 2 memory. If you have 2 or fewer security cards, you may recover deck +1, until you have 3 cards in your security. Your turn. When you have 3 security or more, this card gains security, attack +1. So, he's a big beat stick. He does security attack +1. You can have blocking uninherited. You can have jamming uninherited. You can have continuous unsuspending during your opponent's turn. He is definitely a yellow boss monster. Now, there's nothing really special about these other than the fact that they just match very well into this set. But it's down to you to decide. That Pulsemon is definitely a pickup for anyone who wants to play this in the near future. Bulkmon, I will just make a second option for the champion lineup pretty damn special. Now we're going to move over to the greens. For greens, you want to pick up Petalmon and Arbormon. That's because these are the new hybrids for green. Now, yellow didn't get any hybrids in this set, and black and purple also didn't get any hybrids in this set. So it's nice to see that green got some extra love. But these both have the, you may digivolve these cards from your hand onto one of your green tamers, as if the tamer is a level 3 Digimon. But Petalmon has piercing. Now, there are probably better piercers, I'm thinking here, such as Erdington. It's obviously very nice to be able to possibly ignore a Digivolution source and go from tamer to champion, rather than having to go up into a ultimate form. Now these guys get better in the next set because we get hold of the hybrids. As I said, BT7 will be the hybrid box, and that's what we're going to get a lot more of this stuff coming out. So Metal Kabuterimon, not a Kabuterimon in Japanese, is you may play this card from your hand into one of your green tamers, as if the tamer is a level 3 Digimon, for the memory cost of 2. When digivolving, if this card with hybrid is in its traits, or JP Shibayama is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, spend one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. Essentially you're just going, yeah sure, I will just digivolve this and you will now suspend all your Digimon, or at least that one Digimon. Now the good thing about this card is, it is a champion that can evolve on other champions. So for 1 cost, if it is just a Digimon that you're evolving from a champion to a champion, especially if it has a hybrid in its trait or it is evolving from the tamer, you are going to suspend a blocker probably. So when you suspend this blocker, you can do 1 or 2 things. If you're high enough TP, you will then swing through with piercing. If not, you'll just swing for security probably. Then we also have access to Beetlemon, which is probably the one you're going to want to play first, which is card effect. You can digivolve this card from your hand onto a tamer for a cost of 2. And then when digivolving the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 card with hybrid in its traits and 1 tamer amongst them to your hand. Place the random cards at the bottom of your deck. This is pretty good. Again, I always like cards that, when digivolving, especially something like this, you're just constantly going to get more and more card resources. Having the chance to get basically evolving, drawing, so you retrain your card, and then you get to add 2 more cards to your hand. It's always fantastic in a deck like green that isn't normally resource starved, but obviously increased resources are always nice. Then we get access to Rhino Kabuterimon. Now apparently this is a Kabuterimon in Japanese. When one of your Digimon with a tamer card is in this Digivolution sources, reduce the memory cost of this Digimon by 2. So it goes from being a 3 cost to a 1 cost, very similar to the Aldermon that we saw earlier. And when attacking, if a card with hybrid or insectoid is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card with insect or 10 warriors in its traits in your hand for a memory of 3. So the cool thing about this is, obviously you'll swing, you'll then digivolve, and they might block you and think it's okay. And then you'll evolve into possibly a Kabuterimon, sorry, a Hercules Kabuterimon with piercing, and then obviously you just upset everyone, or you digivolve up into the next big beastie, which is the ancient Beetlemon. And then your turn, once per turn, when one of your Digimon with 10 warriors or hybrid is in the traits, delete an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. And then on deletion, you may play 1 green, level 4 or lower Digimon with hybrid in its form from your hand without paying its memory cost. So there's a lot of talk about how the effect of the attack works in this. Does it trigger during your evolving from Rhino Kabuterimon? Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. I think we'll get a ruling about this obviously closer to the time. But until then, I think you're going to be kind of stuck with how this works. This is very cool compared to Mega Kabuterimon, it has the effect of when you survive a battle, you get to trash the top card. I do see possibly being play of where both this card and the Mega Kabuterimon are on the same stack. Essentially, this card is just burning through security by trashing it and then doing its own actual hits. So, pretty cool in my opinion. Now we do also have access to the tamer in this set, Mr. JP Shibayama. Butchering his full names, I'm so sorry. Card effect. Security plays card at paying memory cost. Your turn. When this tamer digivolves into a green Digimon, reduce the memory cost of that digivolution by 1. So essentially, most of your green Digimon hybrids will now be a 1 cost, which is fantastic. So you're essentially just 1 costing all your evolutions, which I think green does already as a normal rule. I think green has the most 1 cost champions that are out there. And then piercing. So this gives you piercing, as we already said before. If you get this in the bottom and you go through all the suspicious plays that you can do with green now, you will be piercing through your opponents. As I said, if you can get a Mega Kabuterimon and then you can also evolve up into your Ancient Beetlemon, you will be trashing 2 and then you'll be doing your piercing check. So you could be trashing 3 per turn. I don't know if any opponent will ever let you do this, but there's always the chance that they will. Moving swiftly on to Erdington, this cool ass turtle, which I think we've all seen and enjoyed during the lovely, now finally ended, reboot of Digimon Adventures. So, it's a 4 cost, 12 cost to play onto the field, it's security attack +1, and opponent's turn, your opponent's effects can't reduce this Digimon's DP. So, no Valderam, no Starmon, no Nightmon. I'm not sure if this includes option cards, I would hope it would, but it definitely won't. So things like Spiral Masquerade will definitely be murdering you, and things like, and the new Wyvern Breath will definitely be putting you down for the fun of it. But the reason why this is a go-to card is because in set 7 we have essentially Jungle Troopers RPG Roll Those Dice. Coromon, the new baby for that set, when attacking, reveal the top card of your deck and place it at the top or bottom of your deck. So if you know what's there and you like it, obviously it's a good idea to keep it ready for next time you can draw. If you don't like it, obviously it's like, oh, you know what, I don't need this, I don't need an extra tamer, I don't need that option card, I don't need to have another Mega in my hand, I don't need to have any more ultimates, you know, whatever it is you don't need, you can put it at the bottom. If you are obviously desperate for something and you see it's a rookie and you need a rookie, well there you go, you got your rookie there waiting for you for the next draw phase. Tortimon, you may reveal 1 green Digimon card from your hand and place it at the top of your deck. To have this Digimon get 3000 DP for the turn. Now this is pretty good because when you're attacking, you can activate this effect, you can reveal the card that you have in your hand, you can put it on top of your deck, you can then activate the effect of the Coromon. Coromon will then show the card. You can go, I didn't need this green Digimon, I can put this at the bottom of my deck now. And you can cycle through it that way as well. And then you have Mami Tyramon. This is reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. You may digivolve this Digimon into a green level 6 card amongst them without paying its memory cost. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. And that is why this is here. This deck essentially revolves around you getting to your Megas and essentially blowing them out the water and getting there super quick and kind of just doing what you want. Now there is a other option here which I think is pretty good, but it would be down to you if you like it, and that is Arbormon. And it's the weird Hydra turtle. And that is, when digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then gain 1 memory for each of your opponent's suspended Digimon. Now this will be very good obviously if your opponent has just swung in, trying to go for game, and they're obviously still sitting on the field. You evolve up, maybe you gain 2 or 3 memory. Opponent's turn, all of your opponent's Digimon gain. Your turn, you must trash 1 card in your hand to unsuspend this Digimon. Now this is fantastic because a lot of the time it will be like Rookie Rush, so they'll be in a situation where they don't have much in their hand, and they might have to just hope for the best. But because you probably played this off of the Mimatrimon, there's a good chance that it will be free, you'll have your memory for the turn, you'll then get an extra memory from them being suspended, so you probably will be rushing in for the final of the game. And then last but not least, Alphamon. So I think a lot of people like Alphamon anyway, he's a cool dude, he's the secret rare for this set, as well as Starmon. But the reason why we're going to pick him up here is because 1, he is a Royal Knight, he's a Holy Knight, and he's an X-Antibody, and that really does benefit, especially in this colour, Doraemon line. That's because we can start off here with Doraemon, which is the new baby for black in BT7. And that's your turn, once per turn. When one of your effects places a Digivolution card under this Digimon, draw 1. We'll get to that in a second. Doraemon. Card effect. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with X-Antibody in its traits and 1 Koto Domo amongst them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. An inherited effect, when one of your effects places 1 Digivolution card under this Digimon, gain a memory. So we got a draw from the Dori, and we get a memory from the Doro. Then we move on to Erdington. That is card effect, opponent's turn. Or you have another Digimon in play with X-Antibody in the traits, or a card with X-Antibody in this traits. You may gain blocker. Then all turns, when you have an X-Antibody in its traits, it gains 1000 DP. So you get yourself a 5k blocker, possibly very early game. Not necessarily the best effect, but obviously sometimes it's just something you need just early game. If your opponent hasn't got anything on the field, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, this is how we would play with Monochromon or Ped. You just use it as an actual jumping stage to get to your ultimate. And your ultimate is not a Greymon, Erdington. This is when Digivolving, you may place one black card with X-Antibody in its traits from your hand at the bottom of this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent effects from deleting it or reducing its DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. While this Digimon has X-Antibody in its traits, it gains 3 attack +1. So the reason why this is actually pretty good, despite what people might think, is if you're playing against black, you're playing against yellow, and you do this, and you put it under there, and you hit Gaia Forces, or you hit Spell Masquerades, or you hit Wyvern Breath, or Seven Heavens, or Transcendent Sword, they don't kill you. You basically just give yourself a delicate plan on your black deck. So it's pretty cool that you can swing in at 7k and have to worry about anything option popping you, but you just have to be careful, obviously, being just beaten down by the fact that you'll probably be maybe an 8k at this point if you do have the correct line going on. And then you do get to evolve into Erdington, which is card effects. Your turn. For each card with X-Antibody in its traits in this Digimon's distribution cards, it gains 1000 DP. So it starts off as 11k, and if you've gone up from the line and you possibly put 1 or 2 at the bottom of this Digimon's distribution sources, you could be looking at a 16k beat stick. Then when attacking once per turn, you may place one card with X-Antibody in its traits from your hand at the bottom of this Digimon's distribution cards to delete up to 2 of your opponent's Digimon with play costs less than or equal to this Digimon's distribution cards. So early game, you'll be having Ultimate, Champion, Rookie, and your Baby. So that's 4 cost. You play a card, 5 cost. If you already had one placed down there, you put another one, that's 6. So that's generally based telling your opponent that I'm going to remove all of your blockers, I'm going to remove most of your rookies. You can get to do 2 of these as well. So black blocking deck might be okay as they average out with 7 costs, but I do think it will be a fun time. And we're going to go to the Tamer, which is Koto Demoto. This is start of your turn. If you have 2 or less memory, you gain 3 memory. On play, fill the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with X-Antibody in its traits amongst them to your hand. Place your only cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Security. Play this goddamn card for free. A black memory tamer. It affects this deck correctly as it's an X-Antibody searcher. Nothing you can really say against that. But that is why we want to play Alphamon. Alphamon is an X-Antibody. Security. At the end of battle, add this card to your hand. Then, if a Digimon with Ronite or X-Antibody in its type is in play, up to 12 of your opponent's Digimon can't attack the player for that turn. When attacking, you may pay up to 5 memory. If you do, this Digimon gets 1000 DP for the turn for each memory paid. End of attack, gain 2 memory. So, you can swing in at 11k, you might die, you'll gain 2 memory. And then you have your lovely other beat stick in this deck, the Erdington, which could evenly just be punching out for 16k on its own with any of the effects that you want to add to it. If you do have an X-Antibody that you can add to this card, you will gain the extra 1000 DP, you'll gain draw power, and you will gain DP, you'll also gain memory. So, the X-Antibody deck in BT7, definitely a fun deck, not necessarily a meta deck, but it's definitely going to be interesting. But these are the 5 options, in brackets, that I have chosen for you guys today. Hopefully you will enjoy these, and I will see you guys for the next video very soon. Peace out, goodbye, love you all. Oh, and if you're still here in this video, subscribe!